Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're taking a look at another personal game with me. I'm going to call this game "You Mad Bro" because, well, I played against one of San Antonio's stronger. Well, I guess he's not scholastic anymore. I've known him for a long time, Matthew Ortiz. A very strong player, very aggressive, and yeah, I was playing the black side of this Sicilian game, and it was, I had a slight advantage in the opening. All of a sudden, Matthew just started attacking me, and I felt personally attacked in this game just because of how much attacking he did, and it was a very nerve-wracking game, very crazy game. I definitely think we're going to be seeing some more good games with Matthew being played. So let's go ahead and take a look at this game. As I said, I was playing the black pieces of this. E4, C5, knight of 3, E6, D4, C takes, knight takes, pawn to A6. I play this variation every once in a while. I like to try and mix up my openings as much as possible, especially for people that do like to prep against me. So I tried out this opening this time, and knight C3 gets played, queen C7, and bishop E3. Not one of the best moves in my opinion, but this is a way to play. Knight F6, bishop D3, pawn to B5. The whole idea in this Sicilian is trying to get like B4 in so we can try and attack the C4 pawn. And of course, for most Sicilians, you're typically trying to open up the center and then trying to attack on the queen side. And vice versa, white wants to try and keep the center closed and then attack on the king side, right? Keep the center closed and then you can attack on the wing. Or if you want to attack on the wing, then you have to attack on the center, right? That's the best strategies for these kind of games. Well, the game continued. He went ahead and castled. I played bishop b7, my first threat of the game. I want to play pawn b4 to win the c4 pawn. He went and played a3, bishop b7. I mean, up until this point, I'm just in cruise control. I'm just playing nice and fast because, I've played this quite a few times. And here we played pawn f4. Again, not a bad move, but maybe not the best. Most of the time, you want to do this, you want to play your king to h1 first and then play f4. And then you have e5 ideas or f5 ideas. And king h1 is just a good little prophylactic move because you don't have to worry about checks or pins whenever you push the f pawn. And this is actually how I get a small advantage here. He played pawn f4. Now e5 is actually a real threat here, attacking the knight and grabbing my d6 square. So of course I played pawn to d6, very standard. And he played queen e1, and I believe this is already an inaccuracy, giving black a good little advantage. Because of this, he probably should have played something like either queen f3 or maybe even just queen e2. But I like queen f3 here the best. It looks like you're putting yourself into a pin, but the idea is to bring the queen to g3. Now, what's the difference between queen e1 going to g3 and queen f3 going to g3? Hopefully you can spot it. After you played queen e1, now black has one move that gives black the advantage. Can you find the move here? Black to move. What do you play here? Alright, remember, I do encourage you guys to push pause. If you want to try and find out the move here, black gets the advantage by playing knight to g4. And this is very annoying because, well, I'm going to be winning this dark square bishop, or so I thought. Here, black has a decent little advantage, and now the game is going to go completely crazy because, well, he did not want to lose his dark square bishop. Why can't we just move the bishop away? And why is this bishop so important? Well, bishops are always slightly better than the knights, and particularly in this one, this bishop helps out a lot of times with kingside attacks. So if I'm able to win this bishop, I'm very happy. I feel like I've already secured a draw, which is maybe a bit of an overstatement, but I believe in my play, and strategically speaking, again, this bishop's just very important. With that being said, he did not want to give away this bishop. And I'll show you, what happens if bishop d2 gets played? Well, then you have to deal with a lot of variations here with almost losing the piece, if not going to. Here I had already planned for something like queen to b6, or maybe even queen c5. The point is to pin it and win it, and the idea is to play e5 here. At this point, you really have no good choice. You have to play the bishop back, or else you're just going to be losing the piece. Again, there's no good way to do this, like knight to e2. Pawn e5 can get played, and, well, yeah, we're going to be having a good time over here. All right, with that being said, he did not want to lose this dark square bishop, and so, well, I just got to withstand his horrendous attack. Knight d takes on b5. If I don't take back, I'm just losing. So pawn takes, knight takes, and whew, the attack is starting. Already I like this idea just because, well, you get, two passed pawns here on the queen side. With that being said, that's not enough to win the game, but in a in a practical point, I think it's very nerve-wracking when you have to fight against all these pawns. The bishops are ready. My king is still in the center here, and well, yeah, again, I was just having a difficult time looking at all these different ideas. Here, queen to d8 was played. Maybe not the best move, but definitely one of the safest moves you can play in this kind of position. Here, bishop d4, and I had calculated all this ahead of time, and I already had planned my response of playing pawn to e5 here, which I felt was pretty forced here because, I mean, you can just go ahead and castle here, but things do get a little bit crazy after something like queen to g3, and now you have to kind of worry about moving the knight back because, well, the bishop's already eyeing for the checkmate square. And it's, yeah, I guess knight f6 gets played. e5 is a move. Yeah, there's just so much to this position. I really felt that, these pieces aimed at me were not going to be fun. So I went ahead and played pawn to e5 here, which computer likes. And he surprised me with these next moves. He took on e5. I was surprised to see that. Although, not too surprised now that I think about it. I mean, it opens up the rook, right? And you need to attack, you need open files and diagonals. And here I ended up playing d takes on e5, attacking the bishop. And here he surprised me again. At this point, I was like, well, he'll move his bishop somewhere. And I was expecting this line particularly. Bishop c3. I'll go ahead and castle. He'll play queen g3. Or maybe even something like h3. He'll kick the knight. And after I move my knight back, yeah, the things just get crazy here. It's like queen b6 check, bishop c5 check. I was planning on doing a bit more calculation here, but this was the position I was expecting to see. Well, Matthew was not in this gracious of a move, and he plays a move I was just like, wow, okay, here we go, game on. Rook takes on f7. Now, is this technically the best move in the position? No. Computer gives us a -5. I will tell you, playing this from the black side was not very fun to play, though. There's lots of different tactics in the position, and I wasn't able to castle. Well, the best way to beat a gambit is to refute it. Same thing goes with this game. If I don't take the material, well, then he's just going to be harassing me and making lots of threats. All right, here we go. King takes on f7. Bishop c4 check. A great move here because, well, the king can't run over to g8. I would love to play rook f8, king g8, king h8, and just say, good game, my king is nice and safe. But now my king is going to be stuck in the middle. And there's plenty of traps here if you're not paying attention. Yeah, I looked at king g6. I looked at king e8, king f8. All these moves I looked at. I ended up going ahead and playing king to e8 here. I thought this was the best. He played queen g3. Again, a very strong move here. You have to be very careful as, well, pawn takes on d4. There's knight c7 check. The knight's already hanging over here. With the pawn in the way here, I mean, the king's just stuck in the center. This is not a very fun situation, especially if you're an attacking player like me. You see all the nice attacking ideas. I almost actually blundered into this position and played something like queen to c8, which on the whole looks nice, but, well, it gives white a very nice tactical shot here. White to move. Can you see the harassing move that he can play here? I'm sure Matthew spotted this. I'm sure this was part of his idea. Bishop to e6, a very nice move, forking the queen and the knight. And the attack will come. I mean, once the queen takes on g7 in a lot of these lines, my rook is not going to be too happy going to f8. And again, who wants their king in the center here? There's plenty of ways to make a mistake. All right. Oh, for those who did not see, queen cannot take due to knight c7 check, forking the king and queen. A nice royal fork there. All right, back to the game. Well, again, like I said, I thought about this move. Luckily, I did not play it. I sat here for quite a while and calculated. This is one of those positions that, well, if you calculate everything, you get everything right, you should win the game, right? So it only makes sense that you should spend the extra time and do it. That being said, there was a big time difference in this game. I believe already, like on move, when he played knight d takes b5 here, I should have mentioned this earlier, he spent about 40 minutes. So this is a game 90 minutes each person. He spent, I think his time at this point was like 40 minutes. So he spent a good amount of his time just on this. And he continues to spend a lot of time on these moves, which, again, he should be doing this because of the way he's playing, right? Either you win or you lose. This is not a drawn position at any point. Rook takes f7, king takes, bishop c4, king e8, queen g3. And here I played a move, not the most accurate. I'm actually not too happy about this move. I played rook to a4. The idea being, well, if I can make some trades here, I'll just be able to win. It doesn't matter that they're equal trades. They just have to be trades. This bishop particularly is the one that's harassing me the most. For instance, if they play something like b3, I'd be all but happy. Rook takes c4, pawn takes on c4, And then I'll even maybe look to make some more trades. Maybe even queen c8 now, because now I can both defend and attack. Here, computer's just giving this as a good way to start consolidating my position. You're up so much material, don't feel bad to give a little bit back. In fact, strong players keep this in their bag a lot, their tool bag, if you will. When you're up in material, you can trade down, even if you lose some material, but you're consolidating to a winning position. Well, smart Matthew at this point only had like 15 minutes, and he plays pawn to b4 in less than a minute. And I was like, oh my gosh, I missed this move. And yeah, it's just not fun whenever you're missing moves in your chess game. I know a lot of chess players feel like that. All right, what do we do now? I got to keep coming up with ideas. I ended up finding this move, queen to d7. And this is a nice move because my opponent's so low on time. It's just trying to maintain the tension. Maintaining tension and not going crazy is probably the best way to play because, again, I had about an hour left versus his 15. So a lot of people think you're supposed to play fast in these positions. Incorrect. In these kind of positions where you have more time than your opponent, you need to spend that time and come up with complicated ideas or ideas that help you better your position. Why? Well, if you play really fast, your opponent will play really fast. The game is actually just an even game at that point. That being said, when you take time off your clock to actually find complicated ideas, what do they have to do? They got to use time to find the best moves or they might fall for traps. And that's exactly what I do. I was trying to come up with strong ideas, things that would just not trying to trick them, but again, just trying to move forward and actually make my position better. This will help make them use time. The other way will not. A lot of beginners will just start playing fast, and against their strong opponents, they just start making easy mistakes. Queen d7 here, just trying to maintain. Obviously, they can't go bishop e6 here anymore. I was hoping for this because I can now take on b5, and the more trades, the better here, especially because pawn takes on d4 is still another threat. I mean, you have to be careful here. Queen takes b8 check is still a move. But I felt very confident in this position. Here he played very, very fast, rook to f1. And at this point, I went ahead and stopped and calculated a good 10 moves ahead. Well, if you only do 1 or 2 moves at a time, it's very easy for your opponent to start calculating, right? They can see 1 or 2 moves ahead. But if you go 10 moves ahead, well, that's very hard for them, and they're going to have to use time on their clock. And so I'll do this challenge with you. If you're playing white here, 5 seconds, what do you play? Real quick. My opponent, once I played my move, I had calculated all the way ahead. I had a feeling he'd play all these simplistic moves. With that being said, again, he's low on time, so what else can he do? What move did you play? Well, a lot of people here are going to look for the check, so he played bishop f7 check. I played all these next moves very, very fast because, again, I calculated so far ahead, and I wanted him to stop and actually think and use time on his clock. King d8 was played. Bishop b6 check, again a move that I assumed he'd play real fast. King c8, and at this point, I think he realized, well, my king is actually going to go to b7, and my king is safe here. And now I actually get to get my rook out in the game. The last move I had calculated for him to play was going to be queen c3 check, which at this case, I can either play knight c6 or even king to b7 here, and I was very happy with both of those positions. That being said, he did stop here, and then he played knight to a7 check, and after this, the game becomes quite simple. Well, king has only one square to go to, so king went to b7. And here, this is the problem. The bishop is now hanging. The bishop falls, the knight can fall. There's troubles in paradise now. I was able to repel the attack, and now I'm just looking for trades and trying to play this nice and easy. Here, he went ahead and played h3. One of the keys to the position is, well, he would love to play queen f2 or queen e3 a lot of times, but this knight is actually taking that up. So, for instance, maybe an idea like bishop d5 check would have been strong. King takes b6. But again, there's no checks here for him to continue with. So, it makes sense. He went ahead and played h3, trying to move the defender. Of course, if I move it, I will allow some strong attacking ideas. Well, of course, I'm not going to do that. Here, I just calculated and was able to stop the attack or repel it and just win lots of material here. What do we play here? Simple chess. Look for the trades. Just king takes on b6. He took on g4. And then I did take a second here, and I went ahead and took on f1. At this point, he's just running out of too many pieces here, and yeah, the game is pretty much over. He did play the trickiest move in this position, which was bishop to d5, now threatening some kind of queen f2 check or queen e3 check. With that being said, I did see the threat, and I was able to stop it. I just played queen takes on a7. So if the check does come, well, I'm just going to go ahead and make a trade. And I calculate a few moves ahead of things I thought he might play. For instance, I thought he might play queen takes e5. At this point, he did flag on time here in this complicated position. Again, not the most fruitful position, but it was a position. And yeah, he went ahead and tried to play queen takes e5, and I did tell him, at this point the game's over. I had already got planned queen c7, and I assumed he'd play queen d4 check, which I would have just played bishop c5, and the game is going to be over here as, well, one bishop, right? I mean, kudos to Matthew. I thought he played a very nice game. I mean, he definitely kept me on my toes trying to defend the whole time. Gosh, ever since like move 12 or so, I wasn't able to castle. So I do look forward to playing more games with Matthew and hopefully see him progress. I definitely think he has an expert in him at least. If he wants to make a master, I wouldn't say it's out the cards. It's just going to take a lot of work. With that being said, I will see you guys later.